All right, well, the U.S. economy is still clearly reeling from job losses. The unemployment rate remains at 9.6%. Lakshman Achuthan, Managing Director of the Economic Cycle Research Institute, with us here to talk about it. 95,000 jobs lost, much worse than expected in terms of the September number. Your overall take on this? I know you guys are crunching the numbers right now to see if this means we're headed for a second deep recession, or if it will be, as you said, a soft landing.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's what we're trying to decide. And the jury is still out as to recession or a soft landing. I think by the end of this month, with the weekly leading indicators, we'll know one way or the other. The verdict will be in as to whether or not we have a new recession or it's a soft landing. And historically, it's like 50-50 chance. So if we look at the analogies, could go one way or the other, but if we look at the leading indicators, I think they'll be definitive in the next few weeks. When we look at today's report, the big surprise is the government job losses.
Right, so 83,000 state and local government job losses, the worst we've seen on record. That tells us what a predicament these state budgets are in.
On the state and local, what you're seeing is the budget squeeze coming home to roost. I think the initial part of this year, some of that was pushed off because of stimulus money. Now that's running out. The good news, as it were, is that we had another month of private sector jobs growth. It's still way below what we need. It still has done very little to actually make us feel like there's healing, but we are getting persistent private sector jobs growth. So another month, the recovery, the business cycle recovery continues.
But it's interesting. We got some very strong retail sales numbers this week. I talked to retailers across New York that are actually doing pretty well and hiring right now. And then you have Meredith Whitney making a call in the last week or so that she thinks 80,000 U.S. financial services jobs could be cut by Q1 2011. Wall Street revenues are not what they were. They don't necessarily, she argues, justify the employment that they have. So we have that to look out for.
Absolutely. Well, what you'll have, you see in this, let's say we have roughly 10% unemployment, because the numbers are kind of fuzzy. They're not that precise. About half of the unemployed are long-term unemployed. They have skill sets that don't match what the economy wants today. So in some cases it's a financial worker, in other cases it's a construction worker. Even if the recovery continues and we have a soft landing, those skills may not be in such high demand.
In terms of true job growth in this country, it really can't come through the government. It can't come through stimulus, many would say. It has to come through the private sector. The Fed says the private sector has $1.7 trillion of cash on the sidelines. They're waiting to hire. I talked to Pepsi CEO this week, also Warren Buffett, both who said demand has to come back for us to hire. But it's a catch-22. Demand for products can't come back until people have work to have the money to buy them. So that's where we are, it seems.
Yeah, you have, there's kind of the 3 C's, I would say. The cash, which you say companies have the cash. The capacity has to be constrained. So when you fire 8 million people, which they did over the recession, you're squeezing down capacity, right, to a smaller kind of business model. And then you have to have confidence that the demand is going to be there. If you do have some confidence that demand will be there, you will hire. I saw crossing the tape that some of the airlines are hiring more. They fired everybody. They got rid of the airplanes. Now they realize they don't have enough capacity. They're bringing airplanes back. They're hiring some people. It's going to take thousands of stories like that to heal the job market. Half of the people have skills that don't match what the economy wants.
That seems like the bottom line here.
That is the really big story that will not be cured by a continuation of the recovery.
Or a
we still have
mechanism.
No, I mean, so a lower interest rate doesn't change your skill set.
No, and now there's more concern about QE2 and what the Fed will do in November. And the concerns about inflation because of it. So that all plays in here as well.
So I'm certainly sure. But I think every day, as you say, that retail sales hold up, business managers will be forced to increase their capacity. That means hiring a person.
Let's hope the private sector increases jobs again.
Yes,
Again
absolutely.
this month. Thanks so much, La.
Thank you.